Hey, this is Josie Santi from the Every Girl podcast, and this episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. Summer's here, and Nordstrom has everything you need for your best dressed season ever. From beach days and weddings to weekend getaways and your everyday wardrobe, discover stylish options under $100 from tons of your favorite brands like Mango, Skims, Princess Polly, and Madewell. It's easy, too, with free shipping and free returns, in-store order pickup, and more. Shop today in stores, online at Nordstrom.com, or download the Nordstrom app.
Worried about what ingredients are hiding in your groceries? Let us take the guesswork out. We're Thrive Market, the online grocery store with the highest quality standards in the industry. We restrict 1,000 plus ingredients, so you can trust that you'll only find the best high-quality, organic, and sustainable brands, all free of the junk. With savings up to 30% off and fast carbon-neutral shipping, you get top trusted groceries at your door, and you can stop worrying about what your kids get their hands on. Start shopping at thrivemarket.com/podcast for 30% off your first order and a free gift.
Hello and welcome to mini episode number 442 of Real Life Ghost Stories. And I have two spooky stories for you today, and the last story comes from January the 21st, 2025. And story number one comes from Clarissa. It was 1974, and my parents and I moved from sunny California to a small town on Vancouver Island, Canada. Our rental was a little two-bedroomed with green 70s shag carpeting throughout, avocado-coloured appliances, and a bathroom wallpapered in bright orange and green flowers. 70s decoration at its finest. The bathroom was right across from my bedroom, which should have made me happy, but I found myself wishing it was further down the hallway so I didn't have to face the bathroom doorway at night. There was nothing visibly wrong with the bathroom, but I can remember feeling extremely uneasy about it from day one. Several weeks passed and I settled into my new school and made friends. My parents seemed fine with our home, but the place made me uneasy. I continued to fear the bathroom especially. I'd skip washing my hair more times than not, kept my hairbrush in my bedroom, and used the toilet at school. Anything to avoid spending time in there. I began to experience insomnia, night after night, and I called out to my mom for reassurance. She attributed my insomnia to the move, but soon became so sleep deprived that she told me to stop waking her. One night I tried desperately to sleep, but it remained elusive. The bathroom door yawned like a cavernous mouth in my peripheral vision. Shadows slid across my walls like ghosts. If my parents heard me get up, I knew I'd be in trouble. An hour ticked by before I finally took the risk of punishment. Slipping out of bed, I stole past their bedroom door and took refuge on the living room sofa. I sat for several moments, when suddenly I froze. The quiet sound of singing drifted from the shadows. The song was Time in a Bottle by Jim Croce. The song was popular at the time, but this was being sung by a woman. A trickle of moonlight barely lit the room, but I could see that I was alone. Where was the singing coming from? We didn't have a radio or television, and we never heard our neighbours, especially in the middle of the night. The singing got closer and closer, until it was right next to my ear. It was as if someone invisible had settled on the sofa beside me. I didn't know all the words to the song, but she sang it in its entirety before she got quiet again. I slowly stood, somewhat in shock, and walked back to my bedroom. I slipped into bed, pulled the covers up to my chin, and somehow fell asleep. And then the nightmare came. One that would haunt me until we finally moved. In my nightmare, our tub held the body of a naked young woman. She was wrapped in a white, semi-opaque shower curtain and looked to be in her late teens or early 20s. She had long, straight blonde hair, but the shower curtain covered her face. I could smell the faint scent of something vaguely familiar, though I couldn't place it. I stood beside the tub for several moments before I noticed something else. The young woman had a bullet hole in her forehead. I could see it through the shower curtain. I don't know how I knew it was a bullet hole, I just knew. And then it hit me. She's dead. This woman is dead. And I'm smelling her blood. I glanced over my shoulder to yell, "There's a dead woman in our tub!" But before the words could escape my lips, the plastic rustled from the shower curtain filled the silence. When I looked back, the dead woman had sat up. I immediately woke, drenched in sweat with my heart pounding. Sunlight flooded my room and I could smell breakfast. Was it a nightmare? I asked myself. I was still unsure. I was not the type of kid who would dream of something so violent. My favourite pastime was reading classic kids' books like Little Women. I was a bit of a nerd. Like I said, we didn't have a television and honestly, I was a little naive of the world. I skipped my shower and quickly got dressed. I told my mom about my nightmare over breakfast. There was a flicker of concern in her eyes. After all, her 10-year-old daughter was telling her about something pretty horrific. But she blew it off. "It was just a nightmare," she shrugged. "Nightmares aren't real." I tried to take that in, but this nightmare was different than any others that I had had. It seemed real. The colour of her hair, the sound of the shower curtain, the smell of her blood. And then there was the singing, which I hadn't told my mom about. The singing which had been right next to my ear, and a song I didn't know all the words to. The next night I had the same nightmare. This time the young woman not only sat up, she clawed the shower curtain from her face. The bullet hole was plain to see then, and blood smeared across her forehead. The next night it was the same nightmare, but this time she crawled out of the tub. The shower curtain stuck to her legs as she struggled to be free of it. I had the distinct impression she was trying to tell me something, but I wanted nothing to do with it and I ran. For months I had this nightmare, and each time it got a little more terrifying because she would get closer to catching up with me. And there was nowhere to hide. One night the nightmare changed. The young woman and I were both standing beside a pool. There were two men I didn't recognise sitting in loungers. Both were probably in their 30s, with dark hair, 70s style sideburns, bell-bottom jeans and button-up dress shirts. They were having a very animated discussion and oblivious to us. Time in a Bottle blared from a radio nearby, so I couldn't hear what they were saying. I looked at the young woman who stood beside them. She was still naked and half wrapped in the shower curtain. I remember thinking, I don't know what to do. You've been chasing me in this nightmare for months and I don't know what to do. Her expression crumpled. It was almost as if she had tried to show me something important, but suddenly realised that I couldn't help her. We moved a week after that and the nightmare stopped. Years later, my mom told me there had been a body found in that rental, though she didn't know the details. She just thought it best not to scare me as a child, as if the nightmares weren't scary enough. Since then, I've seen and felt ghosts quite often, but I am less alarmed by these experiences. But the nightmare of that dead woman wrapped in a shower curtain has haunted me for over 50 years. I've tried to do research in that area to see if there was an unsolved murder, but I can't seem to find anything. I feel like she was murdered by those two men, but her history became lost in the pages of time. Maybe I could have helped, but then again I was just a kid. Oh, it's like something from a movie. And look, here's the thing, right? You can, for the rest of time, look back and think, maybe she was trying to tell me something, I could have helped, I could have done something. But like you said, you were just a kid and you're having these nightmares, and I'm like, realistically, that's probably all anybody was going to see them as. You know what I mean? People were just going to go, oh, you're just having a nightmare, you're okay, it isn't real. And unfortunately, that is just simply what happens, I think. We tend to dismiss a lot of these thoughts, feelings, intuitions, nightmares, etc. And we don't really give them, or at least adults don't really give them a second thought. How interesting is it that when you moved in, you immediately were like, there's something wrong with that bathroom and I don't like it. Something is not right. And it really does seem like this woman was trying to communicate with you. So I'm sorry if I pronounced that artist's name wrong. It's Jim Croce. I'm not sure if that is how you pronounce it, but I did look up the song Time in a Bottle and had a listen to it and then had a big cry. It's such a beautiful song. Oh, it really broke my heart. It's about not having enough time to spend with the person that you love. And it absolutely broke my heart. And to hear that being sung in your house in its entirety in the middle of the night, getting closer and closer to you until she sits down, that is wild. Like, that is crazy. So, are we saying that, you know, this woman was killed in this unit, in this house, and she was trying to show you what happened, maybe showing you that it was the two men that did it? And it's incredible that she showed you kind of bit by bit, you know what I mean? That it wasn't just a flash of a dream or a dream where you saw everything, that she sort of showed you bit by bit by bit. And maybe that's about energy. Maybe that's kind of all she was able to do at a time. That this story has just blown my mind. Like, what a story. And I would recommend going and checking out that song, Time in a Bottle. It's a beautiful song. I don't think I've ever heard it before. It's gorgeous.
Now at Verizon, we have some big news for your peace of mind. For all our customers, existing and new, we're locking in low prices for 3 years guaranteed on My Plan and My Home. That's future you peace of mind. And everyone can save on a brand new phone on My Plan when you trade in any phone from one of our top brands. That's new phone peace of mind. Because at Verizon, whether you're already a customer or you're just joining us, we got you. Visit Verizon today. Price guarantee applies to then current base monthly rate. Additional terms and conditions apply for all offers.
Hey, this is Josie Santi from the Every Girl podcast, and this episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. Summer's here, and Nordstrom has everything you need for your best dressed season ever. From beach days and weddings to weekend getaways and your everyday wardrobe, discover stylish options under $100 from tons of your favorite brands like Mango, Skims, Princess Polly, and Madewell. It's easy, too, with free shipping and free returns, in-store order pickup, and more. Shop today in stores, online at Nordstrom.com, or download the Nordstrom app.
Worried about what ingredients are hiding in your groceries? Let us take the guesswork out. We're Thrive Market, the online grocery store with the highest quality standards in the industry. We restrict 1,000 plus ingredients, so you can trust that you'll only find the best high quality, organic, and sustainable brands, all free of the junk. With savings up to 30% off and fast carbon neutral shipping, you get top trusted groceries at your door, and you can stop worrying about what your kids get their hands on. Start shopping at thrivemarket.com/podcast for 30% off your first order and a free gift.
Did you know that selling your home is one of the top 5 most stressful things you do in your lifetime? Hi, I'm Sarah Reynolds, CEO of Reynolds Empower Home Team with Keller Williams. Debbie and I are here to help remove the stress of selling your home by guaranteeing in writing that if your home doesn't sell, we will buy it. That's our guarantee. Many agents promise to sell your home, but can they guarantee it in writing? We can. Call us to sell your home today, guaranteed. 703-637-SOLD or go to debbiehasthebuyers.com.
And story number 2 comes from Greg. March 2022. Start having construction done on new bathroom. Odd things start happening. Mainly audio items such as doors shutting without anyone actually shutting the door. Blamed it on airflow when another door was open. Over the rest of the year 2022, minor things would happen. I would be outdoors and feel like there was a black or white shadow following me. I would always be doing double takes and nothing would be there when I thought I saw something. Both my personal and work computers are in the basement. Occasionally I would sit down and it would feel like someone was trying to cover my eyes because I would see quick black shadows go quickly over my eyes. Since things were starting to escalate, I decided to subscribe to a sleep app in late 2022. During 2022, I did not get anything on my sleep app, but I still kept it on every night. The start of 2023 was fine. The occasional checking over your shoulder like someone was there and the eye trick kept happening. February 2023 and my mother-in-law had a medical procedure that required us to move sleeping arrangements around. My eldest took the basement since we had a futon down there at the time, so my child and the 2 dogs slept down there all week long. There is a weight machine in the corner that has chains for various exercises. One evening my child woke up, as well as the dogs, and all of them stared at the corner near the weight machine. What startled everyone was a sound like someone was kicking the chain. Then, in March of 2023, I got something on my sleep app. It was mid-March. This was sent over to multiple people and nobody could really figure out what it was. Then, at the end of the month, I was in the bathroom, and a gust of wind went right across me from the doorway of the bathroom over the toilet and then went right into the bathtub. I work in my basement, and during the month of June 2023, my dog was with me at the time. Both the dog and myself stare at a wall at the same time. The air started to sound very static, and the smell was almost ozone-like. My dog started to growl at the wall, and in less than 30 seconds, everything went back to normal. Starting in July, I was having issues sleeping. I would wake up like clockwork and stare at the corner of the wall and had no idea why until I listened to a recording from my sleep app in July. It was so bad at the end of July that I yelled at whatever it was to leave me alone so I could get some sleep. One afternoon I had my eldest help me move a dog cage into the basement underneath the stairs. I had to move a glass tabletop to make room. I picked up the glass top, and when moving it, I felt a push. Next thing I know, the whole tabletop shattered into a million pieces. I called to get a broom and dustpan to get the pieces of glass cleaned up. I still don't know if I bumped something at just the right angle or if there was some other intervention. Later on, during the month of July, we found a store that sold crystals and sage. This is not my normal store, as I was really wanting to go to the comic store next door, but they were closed. Since this store was relatively cool compared to the hot day, we told the owner what we had been going through. I picked up some sage and she told us before leaving that whatever it is, you tell it that you are in charge and it must listen to you. The rest of the summer into fall, it was the same old hearing weird noises or thinking you saw a shadow in the corner of your eye, and then we got to October. In the corner of our kitchen, we hung up those stupid ghosts that would make noises if you would clap your hands or there would be a loud noise. In that corner, there was no airflow. The central air unit was not on and there was no wind flow from the bottom. My wife and I stared at that stupid ghost and watched its arms move slightly. It was a subtle movement, but this happened several nights in a well-lit kitchen. I tried to feel if there was airflow, and I personally did not feel anything. It would be moving and I would go over to see if I could feel any airflow, which I didn't, and then the stupid ghost didn't do anything for the rest of the evening. After October, things died down to the point where I thought it was gone. November was the best month I've slept since this started. Even during the month of December, nothing appeared to happen. Then we get to early January 2024. One evening, things just didn't feel right. I was having a very vivid dream, and during the dream, this person looked to the corner like something was happening, and then I heard it. The loudest scream imaginable. I have no idea if it was an actual scream or just in my head. This was a scream that you let out when you were frustrated and had no idea what to do except give up. I decided to speak with the pastor at our church. I didn't want to go through another year of this. We met with the pastor and informed him of the situation. An appointment was set for Monday evening, January the 22nd. He blessed every single room in the house. My eldest used sage in every doorway and every window of the house. We went into the basement last and had a final prayer. That evening I had one of the best night's sleep I have had in months. It's been nearly a year, and the events that happened in 2023 into early 2024 haven't completely repeated themselves. There has been an occasion where I swore I heard something in another room, but I couldn't tell if this was because of my overactive imagination. So I'm going to put in the sounds now from the sleep app so that I can play them a few times. I didn't want to interrupt the flow of the story, but luckily Greg sent in the recordings from the sleep app. So I'm going to put in both of them. One is from March, one is from July. I would suggest listening to them a few times, like replaying it back. Okay, so we're back. I don't know about you, but to me, that sounds like a baby crying, or a baby like cooing and kind of gurgling and making noises, or like a toddler singing. It sounds like a child to me. And I've definitely spoken about this before, right? About how there is this theory, in the paranormal community, that construction on houses can trigger paranormal things, can cause paranormal stuff to happen in a household. I don't know if you guys remember that story I did, ages and ages ago. I can't even remember what I called it, but it was a family in the west of Ireland, and they started having construction in their house, and they brought a new baby into the house, and then there was all this mad poltergeist activity started happening, and they had to bring priests in. I cannot remember what I called it. But one of the conversations that was had was whether or not the construction work in the house had unearthed something, had caused something to shake awake. But it sounds quite childlike, right? So you'd be out and about and you'd feel like there was a little black or white shadow following you. You would feel like you'd see these quick black shadows go over your eyes. Maybe that's like a child covering your eyes with their hands, like kids do when they're trying to play, do you know? And those recordings from the sleep app, like, they sound like a child, a baby or a toddler to me. And I do think the static and the smell of ozone is really weird. That gave me the heebie-jeebies big time. As somebody who has had weird things happen with the atmosphere, I suppose. I don't know what other way there is to say that, like the room going dark and quiet, and I've had that happen, and it's a very strange experience. I'm really glad that you got that sleep app though, to be able to record those sounds, because that is pretty intense stuff on that sleep app. And weirdly, I've also had experience with being met with a gust of wind through my bedroom. So it's kind of weird that this story has come up now. But I get the impression from the way that you were talking about this story that maybe it didn't feel malevolent. Obviously, you don't want these things to be happening, right? You're thinking, I don't want to go through another year of this, and I want to get this sorted out. And I think seeking help is always the best thing to do. Your local witchy shop is a good place to start, because people in your witchy shop will be knowledgeable about stuff. They might be able to give you some cleansing rituals, some crystals, whatever it is to put around your house. And failing that, like going to, if you're a believer in God, if you're somebody who goes to church, going to your pastor is probably a good idea too. And it seems like it worked for you guys for the most part, but keep us updated. How interesting. I love those sleep app recordings. They are fascinating. Thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Thank you to Clarissa and to Greg for sending in your stories. Remember, the last story came from the 21st of January 2025. And if you would like to send in your story, you can do so by emailing it to reallifeghoststoriespodcast@gmail.com. You can also check out the website reallifeghoststoriespodcast.com. And if you are desperate for some extra content, you can subscribe to the Patreon. That is patreon.com/Real Life Ghost Stories, where for $5 a month or $2 a month, you can get access to heaps of extra content, as well as every single main and mini episode completely ad-free. And on that note, I shall see you next time.
Hey, this is Josie Santi from the Every Girl podcast, and this episode is brought to you by Nordstrom. Summer's here, and Nordstrom has everything you need for your best dressed season ever. From beach days and weddings to weekend getaways and your everyday wardrobe, discover stylish options under $100 from tons of your favorite brands like Mango, Skims, Princess Polly, and Madewell. It's easy, too, with free shipping and free returns, in-store order pickup, and more. Shop today, in stores, online at Nordstrom.com, or download the Nordstrom app.